The following podcast is brought to you by Iconic Nation Media. Welcome to Season 5 of Level Up Podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Levy. I'm here to guide you on a journey of personal growth and fulfillment. Join me as we delve into the challenges of both business and personal life, aiming to discover our true selves and connect more deeply with the world around us. On this podcast, we'll explore the topics that inspire and empower us to become the best version of ourselves. From book reviews to interviews with iconic individuals, we'll have insightful conversations that resonate with your journey. And a big thank you to our sponsors, the Boys and Girls Club of America, Greater Neho Valley, and Levy's Deli for supporting the show and helping us bring these valuable discussions to you. Please share, rate, and review the podcast. And thank you so much for listening. You can also leave your comments at Kimberly Levy on social media. Thank you for your feedback and thank you for listening. Hello, how are you guys? Welcome back. Thank you for listening and tuning in. Okay, today I'm going to serve you guys a little bit of tough love, and I really want to talk to you about not sitting in your fear. So I can't tell you how many people have reached out. So many people out there reach out and they want to know how they can start their podcast. And oftentimes I have conversations with them and they're not totally sure on, how to start, how to launch, how it works. And I explain to them my packages and programs, and then silence. Now, I know from my own experience that this silence represents fear. Okay. So here's the thing. Sitting stuck in wishing, hoping, praying something will happen for you is not the way that you're going to end up having the results you want. So I personally am here because I want every single person out there that I could possibly reach to truly hit all of their dreams in their life. And I want them to maximize their potential. And I feel that way. And I feel like nowadays it's even more important that people do not stay stuck and sitting in fear and that they reach their potential, because the world is getting a little crazy. Okay. The world's getting crazy. Just the other day, I was driving over to pick up my sweet baby, my 2.5-year-old. I had my 8 and 7-year-old in the car, and we're at a stoplight. I picked up the older kids from school. Now I'm going to pick up the baby. Anyway, we're sitting there at a stoplight, right? My hometown. I've grown up there, been there my whole life. And I see kids open their car doors, and I looked closer. I kind of leaned in. I'm like, was there an accident? And I realized the cars in front of me open their car doors, and these teenagers get out and start beating each other up. Yes, they started literally just in the middle of the road. I mean, this world has gone sideways. I mean, I had to call 911 just so you guys know. It was bad. It was not a good look. And I keep reading stories about, we all read the stories, right? And I'm very careful, by the way. Just this is a little bit of a tangent we're on now, but if you're not curating your feed in a way that is productive to you, start searching things that are more on the productivity side as opposed to the crazy side. All right. So that's my 2 cents on that. And in fact, that's a whole other episode about curating your content and what you put in your brain. But going back to you and your fear. Okay. Here's the deal. So many of you are out there dying to have your own podcast. You are hoping, you are wishing, you're curious. It's like this little itch that you can't scratch, and you want to do it, but you don't really want to admit that you want to do it, and you don't know what to do. Okay. How do I know this? Because I'm you. That was me. I remember I finally awakened to the fact that I could finally admit to myself that, I'd love to have a podcast. And here's the thing about that. That's awesome. If you feel that way, that is so spectacular and so awesome. And I want to help you scratch the itch. And here's the thing about it. I decided to roll out programs and packages to help you launch your podcast because, one, there is nothing more exhilarating. I promise you this, Nothing more exhilarating than when you finally figure out how to publish your very own podcast and you are driving in your car or you look at your phone and you open your Apple Podcast or your Spotify app and you see your own podcast, your own artwork, you hear your own voice, and there's nothing more freeing than actually releasing your voice into the universe. And I'm saying that because, you guys, it happened to me the moment I set my voice free and I got my voice out there. It was like my entire soul was set free to the point where I'm hooked. Like I was hooked. And I know how powerful that experience really is. And not only do I know that, but I also know what it's like to wonder if you're going to help anyone or anyone's going to care. And it's not nearly as easy as you think to get people to listen, but you overcome that through consistency, through marketing. There's various ways around that, right? But I will tell you, it is so worth it. So I know the feeling of being afraid to release your money and to invest money, but there is one investment that will always be a winning investment, and that is in yourself. I'm going to tell you a little story, okay? You want to talk about guts? Let me tell you. All right. Okay. When I was 20 years old, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. So I took the LSAT twice. I did decently. I didn't do amazing, but I did good enough where I could have gotten into like a tier 2 school. Okay. However, my parents were like, we don't think you should do law. And especially if you're not going to get into a tip-top school, it's not worth it. And they didn't think that my personality, frankly, was a good fit for law school. By the way, thank you, Mom and Dad, for that. So I pivoted and I took the GMAT, which is the test to get into business school. Well, I took it twice and I was working full time and I killed myself just to get through the GMAT. I did the courses, the Princeton Review or whatever one I took. I was driving to UCLA. I was going on the weekends doing the practice tests. I mean, the works, right? Like really fought my way. And I thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I was able to get into a top 20 business school at USC. Fight on. Now, I'm telling you that when I got there, I didn't realize I was one of the few people that didn't get a scholarship or didn't have rich parents to pay for me. So at the time, I took out the maximum amount of loans because I was only making $34,000 at my job, which I had then quit so I could attend business school full time, which was a 2-year program. That program cost $185,000, okay, for a 2-year MBA. Now you have to understand the timing, and this is where it gets fun, and this is where we get into taking risks and investing in yourself, okay? What happened was the financial crisis, okay? So I was in business school just as the financial crisis was kind of still going on. It was 2010. Layoffs were happening. Huge businesses were closing. The world was falling, right? Like the entire infrastructure, finance infrastructure, and economy was a mess, okay? So it was a scary time. Okay, so I decide, you know what? I'm gonna take out full loans. So I take out full loans because I need to be able to feed myself. I also was working part-time as an intern, even though I was in school full-time. So I was having my 18-hour days the entire time through business school, right? So anyway, I graduate. Turns out my loans were locked in at an average of anywhere between 7.5% to 8% interest, okay, on 185, I don't remember the exact number, but it was around $185,000, okay, at about 8%, maybe 7.8, because you have multiple loan packages. So I'm telling you the story because at that time, I had landed myself, again, I'm so grateful for this, I had worked my tail off to get the best possible job I could out of business school because I knew I couldn't afford my loans if I did not get a high-paying job. So I went for a management consulting job and I didn't get it. And the way it works is if you don't get it the first time around, you pretty much don't have a chance to get it again. Like it's a very structured kind of recruiting process that they have. And you have to do all these cases, like they grill you in the interview and you have to learn how to be prepared for the interview. Anyway, long story short, I ended up getting rejected multiple times. And finally, I remember it like it was clear as day. I was literally in my second year looking at graduation, had a job offer on the table, but it was not as high as I wanted. And I had a second job offer that was higher, but it was in Kentucky. And I was dating Brian. And he was like, I'm not moving to Kentucky. So I was like, cool, I have to go take this job and like end my relationship. Anyway, so these were my options. And I was sitting there studying for my accounting exam. And it was in April at the time because we graduated in May. And I will never forget the time that my phone rang. And I was in a study room on campus at USC. And I had piles of papers for each chapter and everything. And I was just doing this crazy study thing for my final exams. And the company called and extended me a job offer. And it was one that was just, it took my breath away. It was something out of a dream that I had fought for tooth and nail. Multiple people told me I would never be able to do it, and I did it. So it's a good thing I was able to get that job, because what happened is when I graduated, and again, I didn't fully understand this until it was going on, was because we were in a financial crisis, the banks were not extending personal loans, and there was no such thing as refinancing those loans. So I was getting buried financially, right? And every single dollar that I made from that job, I was putting directly into my loans. And I had called the government and I said, how can I refinance my loans? I have excellent credit, but I'm getting buried in interest. And they're like, we can't refinance. I tried to go to multiple banks, every which bank. Again, I had very good credit, amazing credit actually, and I couldn't get a refinance. So I was just getting buried every month. So every dollar I made, I kid you not, I put into those loans. And I was working 100-hour weeks. I was traveling all over the country. And it was one of the most stressful yet important character building times of my life, because I knew deep down that I was betting on me. I didn't have anybody to back me up. There was no backup plan, sink or swim. And I literally said, I'm in the driver's seat and this is my shot and I will not mess it up. And that's exactly what I did. And I paid off those loans in 2 years. So I'm telling you this because if I did not have the guts to put every single thing I had on the table to get myself to the next level, I would never be where I am today. Now, since then, I've taken jobs that, gosh, maybe 10x'd my salary, right? I've made millions of dollars in my career, and I want to make more millions, and I want to help other people do their best. And look, it's not even about the money. The money is helpful to a point, okay? I think I'm probably one of the most hyper-aware people when it comes to, money is a source of energy, and it could and should be used for the greater good, but it's not the end game. The end game is to live to your highest potential, not to make the most money. However, I also don't want to deny the fact that in making money, you're allowing yourself to reach your highest potential and your dreams. And I think that's something we should not tiptoe around. I think we should be very bold and clear about that. There's a real purpose and joy that you can get from having money. So what I mean by that is on my I think you guys may have heard this, but I have my exceptional life plan, okay? When I mapped out like my goals for my life, one of the big things I had on my list was being able to contribute to charitable causes and children that need support and things of that nature. And that's something like I never was exposed to getting to go to those fancy galas and, getting to donate a bunch of money. Like I've never had that opportunity to sit on a board and actually have real impact on causes that make a difference in this world in a very real way for really important causes. So I knew that in going for as much money as I could, or at least as much as I could at the time, that I would be able to contribute to the world and make the impact in a way I never was able to. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm telling you this story because I know that it's hard to make the leap sometimes. I know it's hard to look at money, especially when you came from not having money like myself. It's very difficult to unwind and undo all of these money blocks that we have. But here's what I realized. If you think of money like something that flows, that energetically it flows, that you give it and you receive it, you invest it and it comes back to you, you donate it and something else happens, it circulates, okay? It circulates if you let it. What I realized is this notion of grabbing onto your dollars as tight as you can. If you look at all successful people out there, that is not how they invest and that is not how they operate. They understand that money circulates. They know when to invest and spend, and they know when to pull back. They know when to give. They know how to receive and how to create products or services that enable them to receive, etc. But what I'm telling you is sitting here stuck in your wishing is absolutely a failing strategy. And it is a strategy for someone that has zero desire to change, to grow, or to make an impact. And if that's you, you're probably not listening to this podcast because I'm all about leveling up. That's the entire point of the podcast. So if you're here, props to you because you're telling me and you're telling yourself that you actually want to develop yourself in all different ways and you're trying to educate yourself in how to do that. But what I'm telling you is staying stuck and just listening to podcasts or just thinking about what you want is not enough. And I say that as tough love and I say it as your friend. Okay? And I'm talking to you as if I talk to myself because I've had to overcome these blocks. Okay, so I say all of this because I am speaking to the old version of me, which I know for many of you is where you are. Okay, and I don't want that for you. So what I'm telling you is if you have a dream or you have an itch, scratch it. Staying stuck in your fear is one of the most miserable wastes of your time in your entire life. I promise you, your life goes so much faster than you think. Okay, I have ailing family members and I have never been more crystal clear that the time is absolutely now. It is now. You're going to blink and your life will be over before you know it. Here's another example of me just not moving in on my fears and some of those, what that looks like, okay, where I didn't do it right and how I'm fixing it. So here's another example. And I want you to think of ways and be honest with yourself about your examples. So you guys know I talk about golf all the time. I talk about it all the time because you know why? When I was 20 years old, one of my friends, Josh, him and I had mapped out our goals. And one of our goals, both of us, were to begin golfing. And he started golfing and I didn't. I didn't know how, I didn't know where to go, and I didn't have money, and so I didn't. Now I woke up 20 years later and it has still been on my to-do list of something I want to do. And I want to do it because it's something that I feel that when I'm older, I can travel and go to a beautiful golf course and do something other than sit at a pool. I can go to beautiful resorts and golf courses and I can socialize. So it's social and it's low impact. And it's just something that I think is just something that I'm attracted to and I want to be a part of. And when I woke up, as I was about to turn 40 a couple months ago, I went, oh shit, I didn't do it. I haven't done it. That's the truth. And I can either just pretend that's not a goal of mine, or I can actually start ripping off the Band-Aid and do it. And by the way, I have nobody to help me yet again, right? Like my husband doesn't golf. We're not golf members anywhere. My dad doesn't golf. I think I've been on a golf course once, but it was part of a party when my friend Steven was getting married. I don't know anything about golf. I don't have clubs. I don't know. And one day I just ripped off the Band-Aid and I walked into a public golf course and I said, "Hi, I'm Kimberly. I need to learn to golf. Who do I call? Who do I speak with? Who can help me?" And I got a golf instructor's number. I called a couple others. I picked one and I'm now taking lessons. Am I good at it? Absolutely not. Do I wish I had started 20 years ago? Hell yeah. Okay. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is in terms of my goals and my dreams. And it's something I've really tried to really bear down on and lean into over the last 6 months, because I'm realizing the clock is ticking. And if I don't take the leap myself, nobody will do it for me. And I'm just going to waste that time. So I'm sharing this with you because we all have things like that on our list. And sometimes we're not doing it because we're afraid. We don't know how. We're sitting in our fear. That little voice is talking us out of it, right? And the podcast itself is a perfect, clear example of that, where you probably think, "Oh, maybe I'll start one finally, but I don't know how. Okay, I'm going to talk to Kimberly." And then you hear, "Oh shoot, I have to spend money. Oh, there's work." Well, yes, there's money and time involved to invest in yourself. But I promise you this, just like my business school example, where I got my head handed to me financially, it was the best investment I have ever made. I ended up making, like I said, 10x plus my investment, right? I mean, it paid off just dividends, stupid amounts. And it was scary and it was hard. And I had to really man up. And it was not an easy thing to do. And I mean, like I said, I worked like 18 hours a day for years, but I leapt. I took the leap of faith. I said, "I know I can do this. No one will outwork me. I am determined. I will graduate. I will go into this school. I will graduate. I will get a 6-figure plus job. Like, I am going to transform my life." And I would not refuse, and I would not quit, no matter how many times I got kicked and punched and told no. I mean, do you know the counselor? Okay, this is another tangent, just so you guys know. When I talk about adversity, I mean, I've had more than my fair share. I remember I told the school counselor I wanted to be a management consultant at USC. You know what he told me? "I was a management consultant for 30 years. And he looks at me and he goes, "You're not a management consultant." That's what he told me. And you know what happened? Years later, when I was in the top 1% of all performers nationally in my company, which I was 6 years in a row, I was flying to my client and he saw me and he had been fired from that job. And he said, oh, great. Oh, you're working as a management consultant. He's like, "Oh, great." And he goes, "Here's my card in case you're looking for another job. I'd love for you to work with me in my consulting business." Yes, swear to God. Cannot make it up. The person that almost single-handedly derailed my entire career saw that I was being successful, probably didn't even remember it, and came back to try to hire me years later. Yes. Okay, so I've been told no many times. I've had many doors slammed in my face. But what I'm telling you is, if you want something, girl, get it. Go get it. Okay, don't sit around. So all that to say, I'm very passionate about helping you launch your voice and help you figure out how to launch your podcast. I want your podcast out there by the end of the year. Just imagine that it's January. Fast forward a couple months. Don't you want your podcast out there already that you've been wishing and dreaming and hoping for? So stop thinking about it. And when you decide to rip off the Band-Aid and go do it, be ready to invest in yourself. Every single one of us that has achieved anything in our lives, we have always invested in ourselves. You will not accomplish anything by sitting in your fear or hanging on to your money and refusing to participate in your own growth. And that is exactly what I'm here to help you do. And I'm going to compress what took me years, literally years, since 2020 to figure out. I can shrink that down into days, weeks, months for you and just hand you the playbook. Get it out. Done. All right. So I hope that if you are kind of waffling, wavering, and unsure of yourself, this gives you some encouragement and a reminder that fear is absolutely normal. And the difference between someone that actually does reach their fullest maximum potential and someone that doesn't is someone that does it anyway. Every single one of us, I promise you, has fears around business, around money, around putting ourselves out there. I guarantee every single person out there has those same experiences. And you know what you do? You lean into it. You do not shut down. You don't stay stuck. You quickly make your decision and you go, and you will never regret investing in yourself. You are always going to be your best investment, no matter what anyone tells you. So I hope that helps you to get the confidence and the courage to just go make it happen. The world needs you. Your life is shorter than you think. And I want you to reach your fullest potential and hit all of your dreams because you deserve it and the world needs you to be your best. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to chat about your podcast and how I can help you launch, DM me at Kimberly Levy. We'll hop on a call, we'll chit chat, and we'll get you going. Bye, guys. All right, that is it for today. Now, as you know, some of our best conversations actually happen after the show. So I want you to find me on Instagram at Kimberly Levy and let me know your thoughts about today's show. You can screenshot this episode and let us know what your biggest takeaway was and tag me at Kimberly Levy and we can share it on our stories. I will see you again, same time, same place next week.